Jeepers, it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. There's a lot going on. I haven't really shown you guys for a while because I've had back-to-back videos of just getting up to date of what's been going on. But I wanted to kind of share with you some of the things I've been working on for the last couple of weeks and what I'll continue to work on for the next couple of weeks. Folks, welcome back to the channel. Really do appreciate you being here. If you are new here, my name's Chris and I'm building a business that suits my lifestyle. There's been a lot happening in the last, 2 to 3 weeks in the business, and I've been releasing the videos talking about, how I went for 2023, what are my goals for 2024, what's happening with the business and all that. And this is kind of like a follow-on to that of just me recapping of what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks as I've just been getting back into routine and really finding my groove. But also there's been a lot that has happened in the last 3-4 weeks, which has just been insane. Like everything has happened at once. It's all good, but it's just a lot to take through. So that's really what I want to take you through today. If you haven't followed along for the last couple of weeks, in short, basically I went through, set my intentions of what I'm changing for 2024. You can watch that video here, but essentially one of the biggest key components and my focus for this year is to continue to remove myself as a bottleneck from the business and continue to build a business which isn't a job for me, but I'm able to own the business and do all the strategy, the planning, the thinking, but have other people, more and more people, help with the business. And that's easier said than done, but it is about building a business that suits my lifestyle. And I've always loved being able to build the growth and the strategy of this kind of stuff. But when you're working in the business, you don't have time to be working on the business. And I've always spoken about this, but now more than ever, it's so more relevant. So there's been a few things that have been happening, and we'll jump to a whole bunch of different videos and stuff that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So we'll be jumping in and out of this kind of conversation. But the first thing is, really focusing on developing processes which can be lifted and shifted, meaning anyone can come and pick them up. So number one is stock is basically done. We're out. So I've got another big order coming in. Today is the 30th of January, hopefully the first week of Feb. Might be the week after. However, at the same time, I've had some huge developments with my consignment deals. So for those that don't know, and I can't really speak about them too much because I've signed NDAs and stuff, but doing a lot of electronics. So I've got electronics here, and I've now set up a new little testing station here as well. This is literally in the last couple of days. It's just crazy stuff happening. Working through all this, getting it all ready. Under here, that's just all video games. So just working through all that, getting this all set up as well has been, just getting the right. So the aim here is to get this all set up, which it is working, but it's just not a process flow, but get it into a process flow. I've mastered this. I've got someone that does the photos for me. I don't have to touch this. It's good to go. Next goal is to do this for electronics. So it's just a flow through. So what I've actually been doing is have everything charging, getting ready, and I've been setting up a little station here, but I need to make it so it's just come in, get it done. Now, in the interim of while my stock is on its way, I'm just here today to do a big clean out, cull out, and pull out some old stuff that needs new photos, really old listings. Before I get rid of them, there's some really good stuff in here. Like I've still got Ralph Lauren polos and stuff like from my SKUs back to in the 100s, just because they're crap titles, they're crap pictures. This was when I was still doing it at home. Just haven't had the time to do it. I've got the time to do it now. So I'm going to be pulling out probably about 220 items today that are going to just go through the process again, get them cleaned up, make sure the photos are, spazzy and all that jazz. That's what I'm doing today. And some other big news is it looks like I've just signed on a contractor to come on board and help with listing. Really pushing the boundaries of how I'm doing business this year. Last year we tested a fair bit. This year it's just getting straight into it. The plan was to always have a contractor come on and do listing. I didn't expect it to be in the first 4 weeks of the year, but look, things have just landed that way. I've got the new van, I've got all this extra consignment stuff, and now I've got the listing stuff happening. So it's all good, but it's happened all at once. So just lots of things happening. So just trying to get ahead of that because I don't have my backlog of photos because I've been sick, I've been unwell, and my photographer's only been back for the last 2 weeks. There's just a lot to do. Just giving you a bit of a sticky beak of some of the stock we've got here. We've got pop vinyls, we've got Amiibos, we've got Furbies, we've got Pokemon stuff, we've got a lot of books, Dragonlance, there is still a few more media stuff which I'm starting to get out. I am changing up how I'm skewing the entire electronic process. Everything's just going into these, right? So that way it's just going to be so much easier to manage, but it takes time to switch it around. Yeah, lots happening. So this week's pretty brutal in terms of just juggling lots of things. I've been writing up process guides and stuff like that, and writing up contracts and service agreements, and anyway, it's all good. It's all part of the business, and I'm actually super proud of where I am. But at the same time, there's a lot of things to fix. And if you've been watching my videos the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about the numbers and taking some of these risks and how the bottom line is really feeling it. And here I am taking on more dollars. It'll be interesting to see what the next 90 days does. Anyway, I'm going to get into this. Probably got to post something as well. I've got to do a bit of cleanup. There's just stuff everywhere, a bit chaos, but that's what comes with growth. Is you get out of your comfort zone and things get a little chaos. So I'm going to do a bit of work today, and I'll keep you updated. The other thing that I'm trying to really focus on is building a space which makes it easy to operate from. So the clothing side is done. I've now got a lot of electronics, a lot of consignments, and that is all new. It's all happened at once, so I don't really have a flow to be able to process hundreds of items at once. I've only been doing it, 5, 10 here and there once a month or something. Being able to get that up and ready. The next part was then enabling workflows which are automated and seamless between the stepping points, and obviously having someone that's isolated to doing the photos and making sure that when I get that information I can understand it so I can list it. But then it actually leads to the next point, which I've actually hired someone else to help with that process in terms of doing listings. So for me, I need to make sure I'm hiring people who are fit for the job, but also passionate about their roles, but also are wanting to grow into the business and help the business become what I want it to be. So these are all never easy things to kind of put together, and I'm figuring it out as I go. Well, we're back at this shop, and look, I haven't really been documenting as much just because I've been trying to get so many things happening. I'll give you guys a bit of an update. Can't remember what I shared last time. So obviously I've been working on the electronics, and I've still got a lot to sort through. Did a big cull of clothing, went through stuff that I started doing the stock tag around things that were listed, things that weren't, things that had been unlisted due to cancellations or returns, and just stuff that has been sitting there way before I even started doing clothing as a 80%er. So went through all that. That's all going to be donation pile. This is electronics that have come through, and bits and bobs and cables and stuff that I've got to sort through. Some really interesting stuff in here. Got some cameras down here. Got a whole bunch of phones in here, which I've got to go through. And as I think I shared the other day, that I'm in the process of getting all this set up, but I just haven't had the time to really get on top of things. We've got a bit more stock in here happening at the moment. As you can see, a whole range of different things. This one is a beautiful piece. I really like it. But really just, working through a whole bunch of different stuff. So that's that. Still got play. Like, I got stuff everywhere. And this is the thing, as I've had so much things come in at the same time, not complaining. It's about now making sure I've got processes happening now. As I think I did in the last update, I might not have. I've now got someone doing listings for me just with the clothing, which is great because they're usually doing it in the evening, and I'll come home and I'll wake up in the morning and I can, punch out 25 listings, and all I've got to do is actually just review them and click go. The other thing that I've been doing is obviously we pulled out a whole lot of stock, so having to reconsolidate, but doing a bit of an audit at the same time, so it's taking a little bit of time. Yeah, so that's really what we're doing. Today is Friday, the 2nd of February. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I haven't done this before, so how would I know how to do it? But, I want to dive into a little bit more of this. And if you've got questions along the way, by all means, please drop a question, drop a comment. I'm being real bullish with the risks and trying to make things work in different ways, which is both stressful and exciting at the same time. I have hired a dedicated lister to help with listing. They're a contractor that will do 90 to 80% of the listing, meaning they draft the listing. At the moment, they're purely focusing on clothing, which has made my life so much easier because that is my bread and butter, and that is 80 to 90% of my business as well at this point. And they're able to come through, they're drafting them, they can do as many as they want as long as I have a backlog for them, but I need a minimum of 25 per day, right? It's been really, really great. And on average, they're able to complete 90% of the listing. I've got to review it. I might change something, I might add a keyword, but it's an evolving process, right? I mean, it's only been happening for the last 2 weeks. And as I have different things that I want to change, feedback, we work together on making that happen. And it's been really, really well. It's been really, really good. And we've already sold items that they've been listing and things like that. So it's been very, very rewarding. I think the biggest benefit has been the time element, because now I'm not spending so much time thinking about it. I'm not tired when I'm listing. Usually I'm doing my listings when I've been doing so much after a full day, and I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I just can't be bothered. That's the truth, which means that you get lazy when you're trying to do those things. It's been really great focusing on the clothing at this point in time, which means now I have a photographer doing the photos. They take notes. Those notes are digitized, which goes straight to the contractor. The contractor then does the drafting of those items. And, at any point in time, I can have anywhere between 25 and 150 items drafted, ready to go. And the idea of this is, as I get my backlog back up in place, I can start to then increase that 25 to 30, increase that 25 to maybe 40, increase that, and so on and so forth. So we're into February now. We're 11th of February, and then basically they've been 2 weeks into play. So this has been really, really great. Now, from that, this has actually forced myself to create better systems and workflows. I've had to create up a bit of a framework of how I operate, how I do things, to ensure that my contractor knows what I'm talking about, what I'm doing. And it opens up a whole lot of different perspective around, getting things off my head, getting things off me, and also enabling that things can operate between isolated people, which make it really, really seamless at the same time, and to make it really, really seamless at the same time. And, being able to then successfully be able to have clothing come in, have someone photograph it, have someone take notes on it, and then have it digitized, and then have it basically 90% listed. So I can literally just wake up in the morning and just send go or click go. It's so good. All right. And it's a work in progress, but it's working really, really well. The things we have to think about, though, is we have to make sure that we maintain quality, if not better. We also need to make sure that it's consistent with the outputs that I want. And it also needs to make sure that we're managing the input side of things is more effective and efficient, so that when we do start to take on more stuff, because the idea is that I should be able to, because the processes are seamless, then that should be efficient and, a well-oiled machine as well. Of course, this then drives the opportunity to throttle more and to increase listings. That's the end goal of this. Usually I'm here showing you pick, packing and posting and all that jazz. But today and over the last couple of days, really what I've been focusing on, actually the last couple of weeks, just turning this light back on. There we go. Is really just getting things in order so I can get into a bit of a groove. And we've just been clearing out a whole bunch of stock. Like when I say clearing out, like photoing and getting it listed and all that. I've got my lister now working. It's been working for a good week, and that is helping so much. It means I can wake up in the morning and I can do 25 listings. It doesn't even take that long. I'm just reviewing it and just sending them live. I had done that this morning before I came here, which is at the moment it's 9 o'clock. So these will get done today, and then all of this will be full of new stock that is arriving in about an hour and a half. So all things are in full force. My goal today, while my photographer is doing all that, is to work more on electronics. I've just set up a new system and process for those, and I'll be testing that today, how I'm skewing them, how I'm doing the quality checks to ensure that it's very easy for my lister to be able to list these. I've actually got Drew here in the back. How you doing, Drew? Appreciate you, buddy. He's just doing a big massive stream. He's doing 300 items in 8 hours today. Way to go, mate. So yeah, I'm going to do some picking and packing now and get out a bunch of items, and then at 10:30 the stuff should arrive. I've got a lot of stuff to clean up, got a lot of processes to build, but it's all good stuff. I'm very excited. We've still got all this to sort through. I've got tubs of electronics here, and I've still got the electronics down here as well. Lots to be doing, but I think something which I haven't really spoken about on the channel is I've only been doing the full end-to-end process of my clothing from, getting it, cleaning it, washing it, processing it, photoing it, listing it, since about July. That's when I started to outsource all my washing, and I started taking on really big amounts of clothing, like taking 1,000 items at a time. We haven't really gone through the process of mastering that, because we started to do it, and then it turns out that's when I knew that I was going to be going away to the Philippines. So I then turned direction and made sure that I had my employee was actually going to be ready to be able to run my business while I was away, like pick, pack and post and all that. So we've only really gotten into a groove just in the last couple of weeks. We've been testing it, and the turnaround times of washing, the turnaround times of listing, and what they're able to bang out. Of course, they're able to bang out a lot more listings compared to what they were doing previously. Right? I'm starting to see that uplift by a lot, all for the same amount of money, which is really, really rewarding because now I'm getting more for the same. So that's been a key part over the last couple of weeks as well, of getting that process right. And we'll be testing that more and more this week, actually, because yeah, we have a lot of clothing coming back from washing as well. So that we have to take into mind. The other thing that's been happening is I've taken on another consignment deal, and my current consignment deal has been really, really rewarding so far this year. I got the most I've ever got before, and as I've alluded in some of the videos already, I'm having to set up new systems and processes and workflows for that. All right, just finished for the day. It's been a big day. I did a bit of consolidation here. I've done a whole bunch of new stuff here, tested a new system with these, which was good. Got some of the delivery. I've got another big delivery tomorrow, actually, of 1,000 items. Crunched out a whole bunch here. We did a total of 670 items, I think, in between things, and cleared out a whole bit more space here. And the new system that I'm doing for the electronics, they all go into these padded, and they're all skewed with all the details on it for my lister to be able to read the notes on that. And I am testing out a bit of a labeling system as well, which I didn't do today because it didn't come up, but it's like following through like a bit of a label system and note system with the skewing so that it can be digitized and be read by anyone. Lots of things happening. I'm going to pack up and get out of here. It's 4 o'clock. Very productive day. Good thing is I go home. I don't have to do any listings. I don't have to do nothing, but just relax. I'll probably still do stuff anyway, but it's just a nice feeling. All right, I'm getting out of here. And the idea is to do exactly that, and then be able to take it through the same process of having someone else list it for me, and then take that 25 to the 30 to the 40 to the 50. And that's been an interesting process because it's tested me on looking at things. I don't want, short-term workarounds. I want things that are going to be work. And of course, I'm going to have to adjust it as I go, but I want things that I'm not just, quickly putting something together because it works today. I want something that's going to work continuously for a long period of time, and then we improve it with small little tweaks as we progress through it. So it's been very interesting. A lot of things all at the same time. Like I've had a lot of stock come through, the consignments come through. I had I got my van last month. Now I've got a new contractor. We're trying a new process. It's just, there's a lot of things. And I've got the opportunity to try some new stock as well. I've got the opportunity to get a whole bunch of, actually I already got them. I've got 100 hats, which I've never done before. These are like your vintage sport, polo, just kind of like the stuff that's tickling everyone's fancy at this point in time. I've never done it before, taking a gamble on it, going to test it. It's a low cost of goods. I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. And same thing, I want to start to try that as well. So really taking on a lot at the moment, but in the last week, just alone, so today is the 11th of Feb, in the last week, I've had more time than I've ever had, which has been really relieving because in the afternoons when I come home from the storage unit, I'm able to start to do a bit more planning, thinking, and looking at some of the other things that I want to bring into the business this year, which I haven't even mentioned before. So yeah, it's all good news. There's a lot happening. There is a lot happening. And this all comes down to risk versus reward. When I first started doing the clothing, I remember taking this through my business mentor at the time, working out what I should be focusing on. And I took the gamble and I spent, I think it was $1,500 or $2,000 on jeans. And that's when I started doing the jeans, and it started to work, and I had to, adjust and try different things. And it's been a journey. I've only now been doing clothing for 1 year. That's it. Like at this level. So a lot of lessons, and I've spoken about the lessons over the last couple of weeks, and there's still a lot of things I've got to fix. But there's a combination of things that I'm fixing while also bringing in to hopefully get the results that I want. But, it all comes down to money. Like I'm spending a lot of money, not making crazy amounts of money. I'm not losing money, but I wouldn't say I'm necessarily making lots of money either. But, it's all part of it. It's all part of it. And I would rather be doing these kind of things early into the business, which we're only 3-4 years in, right? More problems to solve, but more things to conquer, right? And to be rewarded by. If we don't take the risks, there is potentially none of that reward. And look, I will just address this. People are probably asking, or going to ask, how much am I paying someone to list? I'm actually paying about $1.50 per listing. It was probably more than I originally intended, but the quality is there, and the person I'm doing has experience with this, so it makes it a lot easier to do, meaning I don't have to train them and all that jazz. I think it's worth it. Of course, I've only been doing it for 2 weeks, so I don't really have much more on that, but I'm very happy with it. And I think it's something that by freeing up time, of course, obviously it's a cost. I'm buying myself additional time, but also the freedom to be able to start to increase, start to double down, or start to throttle or accelerate. And again, all of this, have no idea. Haven't done it before. So how would I know if it's going to work? This is how I'm doing it. This is how I intend to do it. And each week I'll have to make the adjustments. I'll have to try new things. And actually, just for full perspective, the last 2 weeks have been like my worst weeks in months. And I've had to actually build a little tool because my headspace has been shocking. I've had to build a little tool that helps me just zoom out. And I've built something that compares, essentially, I'll read it out to you, and you can probably even see a sticky beak of it. But when in doubt, I've got a view that shows me the volume of sales over the last 4 years and the average. And then it shows me a view of the revenue of sales over the last 4 years and the average. And then the ASP of the last 4 years and the average. Meaning, where was I in year 1? Where was I in year 2? Where was I in year 3? And where was I this year? And it compares the same week each year. And because I've been tracking all this data. And this gives me some really good perspective. Even though this week started off really bad and last week was really bad, I've actually still been better than all averages across all years. So it isn't really that bad. It's only because I've raised the bar in terms of my expectation that when I'm seeing a dip, I have a bigger hit in terms of mentality. So I think this is something really important. And it's probably a whole conversation, a whole episode that I'll do on, might even do it in the podcast as well. But something that we need to be reminding ourselves on, that when in doubt to zoom out as well. So lots happening. I hope this gives people a bit of an update on what's been happening in the business. I haven't really been talking, my weekly results and things like that so much, just because I've been playing catch up and been doing so many things, and I haven't really been spending time recording on what's sold and all this, because I've really just been working lots, trying to get ahead and playing catch up, because I'm about 4 weeks behind of where I wanted to be. Currently am with my KPIs as well. I've been operating between January 5th to February 9th. I'm in the red. And what I mean by in the red is I'm more than 50% down from where I want to be to hit my goals this year. So we're early into the year, but I'm tracking it like a hawk. I'm putting things in place to make it work. And look, I think there's going to be some tough conversations come the end of March, April, to see where things are at and if it's actually been worth it or not. Being very transparent with you, again, I'm not here to tell you how to run your business. This is how I'm running mine. And I'm more excited than ever, also very scared than ever. But at the same time, I'm feeling pretty confident and pretty proud about being able to do this and just running my own race. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're doing it for our own lifestyles. You go look at everyone else. We're all doing it differently. And that's okay. That's okay. There's no right way to do this. And I will continue to reframe and continue to make sure I'm very honest here that I'm not going to be focusing my time on this channel about telling you how to resell or why you should do it this way. What I will share is why I'm doing it my way, this way, in this sense, and how that might help others. But I'm not going to start saying you have to do it this way if you want to be successful, because I honestly don't have that result until I've done it. So as I continue to progress, as I continue to share, hopefully those results will be encouraging and inspiring, and they'll be realistic anyway. And look, maybe what I'll do is, just to finish the video, I'll leave you a perspective of how January 2024 went. It was a rewarding month. It was better than December. What I did find was that there was higher costs, and that's because I had to, I'd been away, had to catch up on buying new stock and things like that. I had some cost increase as well. I had my employee work more. There's been a lot of interesting things happening in January, but January is still profitable. We walked away with 15.5% profit margin, which is not where I want it to be. I want it to be closer to 20 plus, ideally 30% for 2024. So we actually had a better revenue, but we had a higher cost factor for January. It'll be interesting to see how this trickles across into February. I have noticed over the last 6 months, sales are down volume wise, but average sale price is up. So I can give you a quick little glimpse of that too. Been tracking a lot of different things in a lot of different ways, really to just understand where things are at. But all things considered, we're still doing better than last year and the year before from a revenue and top line. From a profit perspective, obviously not. So that's a part that I have to clean up. But from a inbound of customers and sales and people coming here to buy,
we've got that ticked off right. It's now, how do we model that so that it's, covering the expenses of my employees, my contractor, all that stuff, right? And all the other costs and overheads. And I think this is what people don't really realize that. So actually someone mentioned it in my video the other week. It's like, oh, basically all my profits are going towards paying someone else to do the work. It's like 100%. But that's because I don't want to have to do that work, but I still want to take profit. I'm just taking less and doing less. If there are things that you do want to see, I'm trying to hold content back a little bit as I can build up and get some momentum with stuff, because I don't have results of things. So it's very hard to talk about it if I, haven't got, if I've only got a week's worth of data on it, it doesn't really tell me much for myself, let alone for you. If people do want to see stuff, let me know. I'll try and do my best to share that. I've got a few different kinds of videos coming out in the coming weeks as well. Yeah, appreciate you, and you have a wonderful day. Cheers.